Welcome to my System Center Operations Manager 2012 beta video series. This will be the first in a series. I found out about the client evaluation program from connect.microsoft.com. I really enjoy this this portal. Get you in touch with upcoming product knowledge. I remember some SCCM 2012 documentation. There's various feedback and whatnot. So, and as you can see here with the System Center Operations Manager suite, there is a participation available, a schedule that you can attend webcasts and get in touch with the developers and ask questions other than just in the feedback section, where you'll actually get to hear Microsoft talk about some of the topics that you might want to ask them about. I attended the kickoff series, and it was pretty good, and I intend to try to get to all of the other ones as well. System Center Central is another good site to go to. Numerous gurus out there. You've got Cameron Fuller, Brian Wren. Cameron co-authors some System Center Unleashed sites. You also have Kevin Holman, which I've seen a handful of blogs by him. So let's check on our VM here. So I'm using VMM to start from a template, and it looks like it's still kind of baking there, so we'll go back and take a look at something here. So Kevin Holman has a really nice write-up here. He talks about prerequisites, and of course one of them is to have a Windows 2008 R2 server with SP1 and as many available updates as you can find. So that is what our template has. I'd say it's about 2 weeks old on the Windows updates. And making templates is very nice in a lab environment. So I like the way he broke down his blog. We've got prerequisites, then we move on to SQL and other things. So I'm going to try to follow his format. You may see some deviation on naming conventions, but for the most part, I like what he put out there. So let's talk about the lab environment some more. I'm running DPM and Hyper-V role on my physical server. And the nice thing about DPM is that you can do system state captures. Here you can get child node backups as well of your VMs. So if you were to say want to do something like test password renaming or something that could potentially be damaging, you can restore your system back. Here, as you can see, DPM can get databases, so if you discombobulate your database, you can put it back. So I have been through several iterations of blowing labs up and wasting a great deal of time to get them back to where I wanted them to be, and I believe that Hyper-V, DPM, VMM Beta 2012 is the magic cocktail for keeping a lab running strong. So now let's talk about the hardware that I have, and I apologize, I clicked on the wrong link there, but I have a Dell MT. It's a PowerEdge, I believe MT for Mini Tower, or Tower. Yeah, it's a PowerEdge T110. And I chose this one because the T110-2 has hyper-threading, and it also has Xeon processor option. So I decided to move my lab off of my i7 system, which was a powerhouse with 16 gigs of RAM, because I found that as little things went wrong with my home system, all my eggs were in one basket, and I would lose progress. So now the two do not have to mingle with each other. When I purchased this system, I got a pretty good deal. I think Dell made sure that, and of course I called and spoke with a Dell rep, which you may want to do that as well, but he made sure that I had the 4 gig DIMMs. I got upgrade to 8 gigs for a pretty reasonable price, remove the second hard drive, remove some sort of extra controller, and I got the price down under $800 shipped. Thought it was a pretty good deal. Then I went on Crucial's website and bought an additional 8 gigs of RAM. So I'm running 16 gigs, and I've populated all the hard drive bays, and I'm running RAID 5. Then I have an eSAT enclosure, this Mediasonic here that has the RAID option, and I'm doing disk striping so that I can back up my DPM data to the external device. So we've got some redundancy with the RAID 5 of the hard drives inside the server. We've got some redundancy of backing up the VMs. I took my additional single slot and put a hard drive, just a normal hard drive in there, so that I could get my, hopefully continue to get my Windows server backup of the actual system state of the physical server as well. So this external enclosure is pretty nice. If you go into your BIOS and set the Dell to RAID mode, you can actually see what they call it, JOSB or something. You can see all of the drives and use them however you might want to do that. So now we're going to go to the VM that we just created, and we're going to change the, for some reason my template doesn't enable the NIC. I don't know, that might be something that I did wrong, or it may not. So I usually enable the NIC, and then I'm going to bump the RAM up here. I'll get it to 2 gigs just so that this demonstration doesn't crawl. Now before, if you don't want to dedicate a system to labs, I had a nice Dell i7 system with, it wasn't the Sandy Bridge, but one before, 16 gigs of RAM, solid state hard drive for the OS, and a couple extra drives with an external caddy. Not quite as nice as the one I just showed you, but that was sufficient as well. So depending upon if you're on a budget, you can put a lab system together without spending a whole bunch of money on a separate system. But each has its pros and cons. When I would do video editing or play a video game or something, my lab system was impacted significantly. So that choice is yours. Or if you can't afford a second computer, you can also go back to the VM workstation and run that and have an ESXi lab for a couple 32-bit machines, and then really have 30 or more systems to play with if you can get by with the 32-bit OS limitation there. Alright, so looks like the product that I'm using in this demonstration to evaluate to see if I like it for screen capturing and whatnot is it's intelligently zooming in down to the start menu there, and not to say that I want it to do that, but that's just what it did. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab an IP and hard set the NIC here, put the default gateway and our DNS server in. And we'll be ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and follow some of Kevin Holman's suggestions on the way he's breaking this stuff up. And so we're going to deal with prerequisites in this video. We'll move into the MS-SQL setup in the next video. And I haven't decided if I want to break out the Opsman 2012 or not. I guess we'll see how long the content is and if it makes sense to do so or not. Alright, so the next step here is I'm going to go ahead and going to kind of go over some of the items that we're going to want to kick off. And so here's some of the prerequisite items. And you want to avoid opening a command prompt like I did here, and go ahead and use PowerShell to run these. So these are all the roles that I had to type out and install manually. So and I think I copied a space in here, so be aware of that. But once you paste in these commands here, it saves you a ton of trouble. You don't have to go through and set up IIS and the web services and the static content and dot. And a dry run before I set these up, and saved me a lot of time. So thanks to Kevin Holman. I had actually thought about doing this myself, but he saved me the trouble. And once again, I found Kevin's blog actually on the Connect feedback. Another individual had asked for, I guess, more evolved training material, and someone in the Connect community sent this post. So it was nice to not to have to go through a bunch of Google searches to actually find the PowerShell scripting and whatnot. It was just kind of given to me. So one tool that I like to use is SliceOff makes it. It's a virtual clone drive, and it allows you to mount ISO images from within your VM versus having to do it through Hyper-V. So that's a tool that's free, and I use it from time to time. So go ahead and install that, and here you go. We've got some successes here for our roles. So now we're going to install .NET 4. And it's important to note that, and I'm sure that Kevin's covers this as well, but it's important to note that on the TechNet site it says to install .NET after IAS. So that's kind of why I chose to do this after the kicking off the scripts and whatnot. Alright, so I don't recall if I did it here for .NET, but I intend to try to time-lapse some of this stuff, especially with MS SQL, because that installation takes quite a while, especially on a VM. So as we get into things, if you notice that it seems like something's installing quicker than it should be, it's probably because I'm going to fast forward the video, and it probably is installing faster than it should. In this case, it looks like maybe I haven't done that with the .NET 4.0. So here we have some more of our intelligent zooming going on, and if you're ever interested in making video tutorials like this, either for work, cross-training or whatnot, one thing I do is I get the audio after the video. So I didn't even know that these videos were zooming in at the time of the recording, but I find that makes things easier because you're not having to constantly redo the subject matter for saying something wrong or whatnot. You know, you just simply redo your voiceover. So we're finished with .NET. Now we're going to do the Reportviewer update. And that one actually does install as quickly as it looked. So I guess I lied to you earlier. And the last step here is to go ahead and join the domain, and then we're gonna reboot. And it simply amazes me at how many systems we can run with virtualization. I remember when VMware first came out, and it was solely designed to run Windows within a Linux system, and it was free when I used it, and never did I ever consider that it would be adapted to run multiple OS platforms on one system. So that's just, it's amazing where that's led to. So back to DPM here. What you might opt to do is start taking your hard drive snapshot before moving forward. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to go ahead and grab my Exchange server and then the SCOM 2012 beta server, and just get a good synchronization of the Hyper-V child partitions. The advantage of doing this now is if for some reason you botch up the SQL install or whatnot, you've got a good clean state to go back to. Of course, it would always be easy just to go ahead and create a machine from the VM template and walk away and get a cup of coffee, but this could help out as well. Or maybe you decide to just do DPM and you're not doing the hypervisor. So come in handy to back up some of this information off of your other physical server if you have a test environment at work, for instance. And I have seen bare metal recoveries and system state recoveries in action, as well as doing a system restore onto another Hyper-V host. So DPM is pretty nice and very easy to set up. So all you need is the dough for extra hard drives, and you're good to go. So as you can see here, the synchronization has kicked off. And now it's just a waiting game. I'm going to go ahead and continue with the setup here because I'm pretty confident that this is going to go off without a hitch. And of course, I might have jinxed the whole video now, but I think I'll be okay. Now, one thing I like about VMM is you can also click on your virtual machine and RDC into the system as well, or you can do the console. So that, in my opinion, is pretty nice. So we're going to switch gears. We're going to go into the RDC connection, and I would venture to say from this point we're going to lose the chance to see all that fancy zooming in and out and all the intelligence built into this recording platform. We're going to get to see it not try to do that for us. All right, so in Kevin's blog, we have some instruction to also make an operation manager's administrator group and to add a couple users within there. So that is what we're going to do now, and it appears we have some more intelligent intelligent zooming going on. So just type in dsa.msc on a computer that has the Active Directory services built into it, or rather the role installed. Role feature, excuse my my incorrectness with that. And I'm going to go ahead and move over to the containers, how you have them set up in Active Directory. And like I said, I've deviated from his naming conventions a little bit. But we've got the operations manager, server action account, the data access, and we're going to add both of those as administrators. And the ops manager group. And then we're going to add the ops manager group as a local administrator onto the servers, well, in this case, the server that we're installing our operation manager roles on. Now one of the final prerequisite steps involved here is to go to IIS, and we're going to enable some .NET 4.0 settings under the ISAPI and CGI restrictions area. So you go to open feature actually, and just go ahead and allow each of these. And that should be pretty much it for the prerequisites. This has been a console intersection production.